sixth bowl, Euphrates dried up to the river. Okay.
The river, yep.
Then the sixth angel poured out his bowl on the great river Euphrates, and its water was dried up, so that the way of the kings from the east might be prepared. And I saw three unclean spirits like frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, out of the mouth of the beast, and of the mouth of the false prophet. For they are spirits of demons, performing signs which go out to the kings of the earth and of the whole world, to gather them to the battle of that great day of God Almighty. And this is in red.
Yes.
Just so everybody knows.
It's Jesus. Yeah, that verse 15 is in red.
Behold, I am coming as a thief. Blessed is he who watches, keeps his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. Is that is an allegory, I am assuming?
Like I think it's like, like being ready.
I am coming as a thief.
And right, so he has said before he's coming like a thief in the night, because you don't expect a thief, as opposed to a visitor. You might expect a visitor, but he's coming like when you're not expecting it. Right. But it is an interesting, if you didn't know the other reference, it would be it would be a little more confusing. So it does help to have the background, 24, 43. Just read it really, see if that's what that's talking about. Oh yeah, well, this is just it had a reference in mind to Matthew 24:43. But know that if the master of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not allowed his house to be broken into. Therefore, you also be ready, for the Son of Man is coming in an hour you do not expect. Who then is faithful and wise servant, whom the master will rule over his household to give them food in due season? And it's in red, because this is all Jesus speaking here, which he calls himself.
Right.
Be ready. Lord, help us be ready. Accept Jesus, trust him to guide you.
Help us all.
Help us all, Lord. Show us the way.
A little nudge
Help us not.
sometimes.
A little what sometimes?
A little nudge sometimes.
Oh, a nudge, yes. Sometimes we need a bigger one, and sometimes a little one.
Yeah.
But yes, Lord.
Right.
And
And they gathered them together to the place called what?
Armageddon.
Hebrew Armageddon.
Yes,
that's
in
what
Hebrew.
it says, in Hebrew. Oh, so Armageddon is like a place in time.
Is it the place to gather? Well, maybe you're right. I see what you're saying. Because in verse 14, and to the whole world to gather them to battle of the great and day of the Almighty. And they gathered them together to a place. It does say place.
Yeah.
Called in Hebrew Armageddon.
But they're referring to that.
I think there's a plain that Pastor explained. There's a plain area outside Jerusalem or in Israel that's where they believe that's going to be where it is. Like it's a vast area that's
just like flat.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So they're like, this is okay. Interesting.
I mean, definitely, it's an interesting thing. So feel free to look up, because there's so many cool things. I mean, obviously, most people probably have heard of Armageddon, because we heard it on movies and other thing, right? We do hear about it, but this is where it is referenced in the Bible. And from what we're reading here, it does seem like it's a Hebrew name, which it is possible that we are pronouncing it wrong because we're speaking. Now, in my reference in 1616, this reference, it calls it Megiddo, Megiddo. Do you have that in your? I would not have
Text reads Megiddo.
Megiddo. So there
1616.
could be a few names for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
no,
feel
I
free.
assume throughout the time it's probably changed a little bit.